All right, so tonight was a pretty historical night for hockey. The newest team in the NHL, the Seattle Kraken, the 32nd franchise, picked their inaugural team. And they did so with an expansion draft. Same with the Vegas Golden Knights, pretty much any new team, but it has changed over the years. I don't completely agree with the system because I feel like it's a little bit unfair, but the Seattle Kraken now have a roster full of players. So they picked from every team except from the Vegas Golden Knights. They were exempt. And from the Sharks, they picked Alex True. Alex True, I'm going to be honest, I've heard his name before, but I haven't really heard much about him. He has no goals in his career, so it wasn't that big of a loss. He's a very young player. He's only played 19 games in his career, and he has 5 points in his career. So, very minimal stats. And so, not a very experienced player, to say the least. He has been in the Sharks AHL affiliate Barracuda for a bit. He actually has some ties to Seattle hockey. He played for the Seattle Thunderbirds for a bit. A lot of players do. That's a pretty, well-known semi-pro team. But, that's kind of the way it was. And honestly, I was a little bit surprised when I heard the Sharks were going to lose True to the Seattle Kraken because the Sharks had a pretty decent group of unprotected players. Curtis Gabriel was one of them. Dylan Gambrell. These are guys that aren't very wide mainstream players that are widespread, known across the NHL community. But these guys are pretty good. And I guess in terms of cap space, it was kind of, needed. They did pick some bigger time players. Giordano from the Flames was picked. Yanni Gord. These are bigger name guys, from the Lightning. So I think, they were probably picking a lot of guys. You have 30 guys, so a lot of these guys are kind of just bench players and they need a system to build off of. So I think, losing True is not really that big of a loss for us, which I think is good because, the Sharks obviously haven't been relevant in a couple of years due to lack of performance. And so I think, it was good that we didn't lose anyone to, impactful to our team. And the Sharks were the second to last team to be announced because it was in alphabetical order by division. So the Canucks were the last pick, and the first pick was the Bruins. But I'm happy with this. I don't like losing a player, but I'm happy that it was not someone more important. Another important thing to mention was Martin Jones, our goaltender for the past couple of years, who's been on and off good. To say put it clearly. He was unprotected, and so now it's kind of talked about that he will probably not return to the Sharks. When the Sharks are trying to get one more goaltender, a veteran, to be specific. They just got Aiden Hill, obviously. Talked about that earlier, but, we'll see. But yeah, Alex True is going to be a Seattle Kraken. He played from 2014 to 2017 with the WHL's Seattle Thunderbirds, like I said. So he has Seattle ties, I guess. The Sharks in 2017 lost David Schlemko to the Vegas Golden Knights, so that was the last expansion draft. But yeah, we don't have a sizable gap to fill now, which is pretty good because, losing him, True, is not a big loss. Dylan Gambrell, I'm happy he's still with us because there was a lot of talk that they would pick him from us. And, for our fourth line, I think that's really important. Ryan Donato was also unprotected. Matt Nieto. Curtis Gabriel, like I said, Marlowe even, and Sorensen. So those are like bigger time names than True. And maybe I'm just thinking because of the cap hit, because I think if the Kraken were really trying to pick the best unprotected player from the Sharks, it probably wouldn't have been Alex True. It probably would have been, maybe Matt Nieto, maybe Curtis Gabriel. I don't know. You could make a debate on who they would have taken had, been a different outcome. But that's pretty much it, guys. Alex True will be a Seattle Kraken. He'll be on the inaugural team. Sucks to see him go, but that's just it's business. That's the way it works. And hopefully he can thrive in Seattle because he never really found a permanent line job with the Sharks. When the picks happened during this draft, after each pick, they usually showed highlights for each player. But not for Alex True because he doesn't have any career goals. So they couldn't really show much. That kind of just goes to show how little of experience he has. And I think he'll, probably become better, with that Seattle team. But we'll just see how it goes. So let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys later. Go Sharks.